everyone, welcome to my Silly Nursing YouTube channel. I am so happy to have you here. Today I wanted to talk to you about tips that I found helpful through my nursing school journey. Now that I am officially a nursing school graduate and I just graduated with my BSN, I wanted to share my tips with all of y'all who may be in pre-nursing or even already in nursing school. We all know that nursing is by far one of the most challenging undergraduate majors, and just you taking prerequisites or already being into nursing school is a huge accomplishment. So you should be really proud of yourself and of all of the work that you're doing for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your future patients. So if you want to know these little tips and tricks that I have to maintain your GPA and get good grades in nursing school, keep on watching. The very first tip I have for all of you is to find out what your personal learning style is. I have friends that are auditory learners that will record and read an entire study guide and play it back while they're doing tasks, doing chores, stuff like that, and they are very receptive to that and they learn that way. Right? I have friends who are kinesthetic learners and they write everything. Even if it's already on the PowerPoint slide, they will write it down because that's their way of remembering it. Personally, I'm very much a visual learner, so I like to make tables, I like to make graphs, I like to make drawings. That is the way, because I'm a visual learner, on an exam, I will remember like, oh, I highlighted this in pink or I highlighted this in green. I'm also very creative in the way that I learn, and as you can tell by my entire brand called SillyNursing, I associate silly things with the topics that I'm learning so that I'm able to remember them. That has really helped me in nursing school, especially since we have to memorize so much information, and so just finding little things like that will definitely help your brain absorb all of that content that you have to learn for your board exams and for your nursing school exams. My second tip to you is to find a good group of friends to help you study throughout nursing school. And let me tell you why. You'll notice that in nursing school you have a tiny amount of time to memorize so many different things, to read so many different chapters, and it's just a little bit overwhelming for one person. And so if you have a group of friends, let's say you have 6 friends and your professor's like, in 2.5 weeks we're gonna have our first midterm and you have to read 12 chapters. It could be very difficult for you as one person to read those 12 chapters, study those 12 chapters, create a study guide of those 12 chapters to prepare for this one exam. So let's say you have 6 friends, you need 12 chapters, so each friend is in charge of 2 chapters, and you create a Google Doc, you can all have access to this lengthy study guide. Then it's a lot easier and you can manage your time a lot better. Now this isn't to say that you shouldn't read those chapters, because I am saying it right now, it's important to read because when you read it, you retain it better. If you're just looking at bullet points and main points, it's not going to stick. So I do recommend that you do read those 12 chapters, as difficult and as time consuming as that could be. I do recommend that you read all of the chapters, but focus primarily on the 2 chapters that you were assigned, right? And then whoever is in charge of whichever chapter can go in depth, can extract the main points, and you can all create the study guide. So my third and final tip for this video, because I do want to make another video about how to think like a nurse, right? But my third and final tip with all of your science classes, all of your nursing classes, prerequisites for those who aren't in nursing yet, is to learn how to think like the professor. And this is like my biggest secret, so I feel like I'm exposing myself, but let me explain. So when you're reading, a lot of people like to highlight every single thing about every single thing about the book, but not every single thing about the book is important. So essentially what I'm saying is that you need to learn how to work smarter and not harder. It is difficult to memorize every single side effect of a medication, right? And realistically speaking, your professor is not going to ask you to list every single side effect of a medication. So instead of trying to memorize every single side effect of a medication or education of a medication, you have to yourself put yourself in the place of the professor and weed out everything that is important for that specific medication. I'll give you an example. If we're taking a pharmacology exam and I'm going to ask you about ACE inhibitors, realistically speaking, the professor is not going to ask you, give me all of the important, like all of the symptoms or patient education on ACE inhibitors, only the important ones. So what are you going to remember? You're going to remember hypotension. You're going to remember patient education on turning, on ambulating. You're going to remember potassium levels. You're going to remember, did the patient develop a cough? So angioedema. So all of these things coming off the top of my head are what I have studied on ACE inhibitors. Everything else that's just like this ambiguous symptom or adverse effect that adverse effects are important, but there's a lot of adverse effects for a lot of medication. Focus on just the most common and the most important. So that is the biggest advice that I can give you, and a good way to study this, and something that has helped me on every single exam, and it helped me get good grades on my exams, which is difficult as a nursing student, is to create tests for yourself. What I did is formulate the most important aspects of each topic into questions, and I will test myself in that way. And so when I get to the exam date, even my friends can attest to this, sometimes the questions that I would formulate would even come out on the exams. That has probably been the thing that made me the most successful, because you can read a study guide all you want, you can read it forward and backward 30 times a day, but if you don't see where your struggle areas are and really test your knowledge before taking the test, you won't know what to actually focus on. And questions that I would get correct every single time, I would just cross it out, not worry about it, not spend time on it, and focus on the questions that I got incorrect and go back to the chapters and read up on those questions. It has really helped, and I really hope that it helps you. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope to make many more videos on YouTube for all of you. Thank you so much for watching.